What's going on, guys? Welcome into episode number 6 of the Male Mind Podcast. Thank you guys so much. Already
Let's
episode
go.
6, dude.
Six, man.
I
It's
remember when we were
wild.
still planning this thing in the DMs, and now we're at episode 6.
What's crazy is that I had a client ask me yesterday, like, hey, man, like, when's the next episode coming out?
Yeah,
It's number 6, right?
I sent you the DM of,
Oh,
someone
who
that
was that?
reached out. It's confidential, but somebody in my inner
was a
circle
friend?
reached out and mentioned that they were going to start therapy.
I love that.
They realized that they had things that they wanted to talk about.
And see, you guys, that's the whole idea behind this is get you guys a little more of an umph, right? In Venezuela, we say un cohete en el culo, which is like put a spark up
Firecracker
your
in
butt,
your
firecracker in your ass. And that's what it is. It's to give you guys a little more of an umph into your life and different aspects of your life, right? But today's topic is hot. And I'm actually excited because Tony just told me about it. I'm like, let's run it. Let's freaking do it.
Yeah, I've had this on my mind for a while, but I had a conversation here recently that really sparked it.
Right.
And it's this idea about relationships. So today we're going to talk about relationships, and when relationships get hard, when there are conversations that need to be had, how do you have those conversations? How do you get over some of these insecurities?
Right.
So I think all of us have gone through something like this to some extent,
Right.
whether it's dating or you're married or past relationships or whatever. But it's this idea of wanting to change the other person or feeling that your needs are not met.
Right.
There's this, the very famous book of your love language.
Right.
So I want to dive into that a little bit. So I'll give you a little bit of context. So we were having a conversation with someone who got married recently.
Okay.
They got married recently, and now they're kind of past that honeymoon phase.
Ooh.
So now kind of real life starts to set in.
Now it's reality.
Now it's reality.
Now
and,
it's
yep.
this is who I really am.
Yep. So they're even having second thoughts of, man, did I pick the right person?
Right.
Should I continue with this? It's
Right.
just, it's different. It's stressful. And so let's start there. Talk to me a little bit about you and Cass when that honeymoon phase kind of died out and real life set in.
So I think this is good. This is juicy. Rachel's like, man, this is gonna get hot. So we had a really long, fun honeymoon phase. Like it was actually really fun.
How long do you think that lasted?
Probably a year.
A year?
I would say a year. The thing is, the background though is that me and Cass already knew each other. We were already friends. We had a history.
How long did you date or know each other before?
4.5 years, 5 years.
That's a long time.
But what's crazy though, is you guys remember, Cass grew up LDS. You know, very very into religion. I call myself a hybrid. I'm still Catholic, and I learned the culture and the religion through her family and her, which is honestly amazing. They were very open, and I wanted to learn more because you think about how are we gonna raise our kids kind of thing. But it was I think a year of the honeymoon phase, and we had a lot of fun. I got to know her deeply, fun conversations, and we were hiking. We were doing a lot of fun stuff, but we had already talked about what the future gonna look like. One, because we're in the same career, right? And she was a trainer. I was doing my own thing already with the business, and it kind of, I wouldn't say phased out. It was more of, okay, now we're together. What's our next step? But we never really changed much of what we were actually already doing. It was more like, all right, like, I like you, you like me. I love you, you love me. Let's continue this amazing path that we're on and kind of work our way through it.
It was just a natural
It was
next
a
step.
natural next step.
Did you guys live together before you got married?
We did. Now,
did?
that was
Okay.
a huge issue. Obviously, now it's fine. But the biggest thing was I said, hey, like, I want to live with you before I get married. That's part of what I want to do. My religion also, I want to get to know you, how we live together and coexist. In the LDS religion, right?
That's a
you don't
big
do that.
no-no.
It's a big no-no. And for those of you guys watching out there, it was hard on me. I was already living with Kai, our dog, and we kind of waited for her for a little bit. I said like probably like 5 to 6 months to actually
I
move
love how
in.
you say we. You and Kai were
Yeah,
waiting for
Kai is like
Cass.
a human, and he really is like a freaking son. But and that's the thing is like I waited for a while. Now I respected the fact
So she was not into it.
she wasn't.
She didn't want to.
She
She
was
said,
not.
"No, I'm not moving in with you." Okay.
Exactly. And I was already what 27. She was 26, and it was a huge roller coaster because I felt like she doesn't love me.
Mm.
She's picking her family over me, and it was hard. It was 6 months, 7 months without her at the house, and I would wait for her super late nights. I was like, and I remember getting triggered, like, hey, this is not a hotel. Like,
Mm.
we're waiting for you. Like, we're here. And then it took her a while to kind of, and this is funny because she finally like broke the news to her parents, and they were like, we thought you were gonna move out like months ago.
Okay.
I was like,
There you go.
bro,
That's a great point though,
yes,
because that built up so much
yes,
anxiety for her
yes.
and we're
And
actually
she
gonna get
had
into
no
this.
idea
She had no
that
idea.
her parents were okay with that choice because they knew who I was and who she was dating.
Yeah.
But I was hurt and upset and triggered, and so was she. But she didn't know how to play that conversation with her parents.
Well, because it's difficult when you
Mhm.
have that cultural, especially when it's
Yeah.
in a religious sense, not only LDS, but any religious concept that you
Right.
grew up with is
Yeah.
very heavy. But that is interesting because
Yeah.
we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about having difficult conversations of
Yeah.
maybe she was feeling this anxiety of I don't want to let people down,
Yeah.
or this is not the way that I was raised. I know this is wrong by
Yeah.
my religious standards, but her parents were fine with it. And maybe if that would have been a conversation that would have been had earlier,
It would have been fine.
then it would have been
You know?
fine. So you save all of that anxiety, all of that
Yeah.
stress, all of that mental weight,
Stress,
I guess you could
yeah.
say, just by having those conversations.
And I was like, man, like this could have happened, but I know everything happens for a reason, and even in that time frame, we grew a lot because we had to have those tough conversations. We had to actually communicate the hard shit that she didn't know how to do, And I was a lot more confrontational back in the day. I was younger, right? I wasn't as smart, I was as mature as I am now, and I think it definitely came down to setting those boundaries and having the tough conversations. And I grew up in a household where screaming was a thing, and us Venezuelans talk like we're mad all the time.
Mhm.
So I just I was in comfort of having conversations normally, right? I saw my parents do that. On her end, it was different. A lot of things were like kind of thrown to the rug a little bit. Everything will be okay, you know. And fast forward, actually, Cass's parents ended up getting a divorce down the road, um, which again helped her and helped me see how we need to be better for each other.
Isn't that interesting though? My parents had a similar experience
That's right.
they split up recently. And it teaches you a lot of what not to do.
Yeah.
These are the things that I should not do, that I don't want to do. My experience was different because me and Leslie did not ever live together before we got married. And so when we did, it was this rude awakening of we're just different people.
Yeah.
I do things a certain way. She does things a certain way. And these little annoyances start to creep in.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's usually small shit. Like for her, it was like, pick up your plate, or just like small stuff like that. Or, hey, like you left your shaving cream in the bathroom. So, but slowly, as you start to get out of this honeymoon phase, these little annoyances start to creep in, or things start to happen where now they're real conversations. And so the next point that I want to dive into is when that happens, when you find yourself, maybe now you learn something new about this person, or they have certain little habits that maybe aren't that serious, but they just rub you the wrong way.
Yeah.
How do you have those conversations?
Ideally, the two people have to be on the exact same page. Now, going through it multiple times for many years, you guys are annoyed about the dumbest things. And honestly, they don't even matter.
Most things don't matter. I say that from experience.
Yeah, most things. And I look at it now and I'm like, why was I even mad about this?
Most of my early fights with Leslie were stupid.
Stupid. They really are. But it's also how you handle it, how you talk to your partner about it, and how you communicate. And I think a lot of people don't really understand how the other partner speaks or how they receive Remember, there's the receiving and how you talk to people. Learning how to talk to people, specifically your partner, is gonna literally change your whole output of your marriage or your relationship. Learning how to receive, learning how to communicate back towards that person, and how you listen.
Making those adjustments.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the punchline. And I feel like modern culture does this a lot, of saying, you should love me as I am.
Yeah, right.
Don't try to change me.
Right.
I shouldn't have to change
Myself
for you.
For you. Yep.
I disagree with that,
I disagree with it too.
because it's not that I don't love. I mean, what is it? Is it that I don't love you as you are because I'm trying to get you to change? Or I feel like we get so confused. Society's confused
Yeah.
with relationship. How should it be? Should I change for this person? Should I not change for this person? Should they accept me as I am? Should they? So we're in these relationships and we're so confused. We don't know what to do,
Yeah.
because should they change? Should I change? She's telling
Is
me
it me? Is it her? Like, what am I doing?
And then our friends are saying, no, they should love you as you are. And then society is saying, love yourself. But then, so it's this barrage of just confusion.
Mm-hmm.
But in my experience, I genuinely believe that you should make adjustments for your partner.
100%.
I think it's part of life.
Part of life, again, with everything that we have in life, it's called adapting. I have learned to adapt to Cass. She has learned to adapt to me. I haven't changed. And I have changed things about me to become better for her. She has changed things for her to become better for me. Example, I am great financially, right?
Like, you're a numbers dude.
I'm a numbers guy, right? Macros, the business. I love numbers. I am the financial god in our household, right? But she's not. In the beginning, it was really, really tough. But after having these conversations over and over and over again, even after fighting, right? She understood it. She understands that, hey, I want you to help me. You help me, I help you build this empire. I can do that on my own. And it took a long time. Very rough. There was some yelling involved. Let's be real. And again, she adapted to the thought of, okay, I have to make this better for both of us. I elevated her level of knowledge so she can she understands it better now.
Yeah.
Right. Number 2, how to raise the dogs. Right. That was a huge thing for us. We have 2 dogs now. Right. I'm a very alpha male. Right. I'm a very strict. I was training them from them were little. She's a little more soft. Right. And I'm sure that goes with parenting as well. You have to kind of balance it out. But it's always a balance. But if you guys aren't talking about this stuff and seeing people's views and understanding how they view their perspective, you will never get an answer. You will go in circles. You will literally never have a conclusion in a conversation.
And you'll make no progress.
And because you're fighting your pride, your ego, because no, this is my way. Yes, we all have our certain ways, but your partner has certain ways. You have to meet them in the exact same highway for your relationship to actually run smoothly.
And that's one of the things that I've learned of. And the big thing for me has been trying to remind myself that Leslie and I are trying to build something. We're not competing. It's not tug of war. If you see it as a tug of war, you're going to lose.
Yeah.
It has to be, and it has to come from both. It can't be just be one. But if you can get to a place where you can both feel, okay, we're trying to build something. We're trying to build a family. We're trying to build a household. We're trying to build something. And as you build, you have to make adjustments. Yeah. That's something that I have had to remind myself of, and Leslie as well.
See, I love
we're trying to build. It's not tug of war. The second it becomes tug of war, it's a problem.
Yeah. And I like that. Adjusting is a really good word. Adjusting our conversations. Let's adjust how we talk to each other. Let's adapt better so we can communicate better in arguments or rough conversations. And a lot of you guys are struggling right now with your partner because you haven't yet learned how they receive and how to take information or a conversation.
And that for me was very hard because I am the kind of person that if there's an issue, I want to resolve it immediately.
And
I don't like wasting time.
And Cass is different. She doesn't want it on the spot. It has to be a perfect time and a perfect place to communicate it.
And Leslie likes to take her time.
Exactly. And I had to learn that. I had to learn to step away 5-10 minutes or even a day. Okay, we can talk about it now. cool, let's do it.
And
But
I hate that.
yeah, and I hate it too.
I hate that so much. For me, it's just wasted time. I'm like, wait,
Yeah.
we're gonna spend the next 8 hours mad at each other.
Yeah.
We can just talk about it right now.
Yeah.
But that's her way. So it's those kinds of adjustments of
And adaptations.
yeah, of things that it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Because then the fight goes from whatever the problem was, whatever the stimulus was.
Right.
Now the fight is the supposed conversation, the timing of the conversation about the fight that we're supposed to have in the first place that you don't want to have now, that I want to have now, but you want to have it later.
It's so true. And you guys are literally focusing on the problem, not the solution.
It's bad.
I say that all the time. But yeah, it's understanding your partner's love language. You know,
Read that book, by the way, guys. Read that book.
take the test. Like
Take
today.
the test. Read the book. It's legit. It's just like the horoscopes. You know where you're on there, like
Oh,
you
yeah,
know
yeah.
your sign or whatever. You're on
Yeah.
Twitter. You're like, holy shit, that
It's
is
happening to me right now.
that is like perfect. It's like that. Learn what your love language is. Explore it. But that is a very real thing, and you need to know yours, and you need to know your partner's,
Yeah.
and you need to do your best to try to make them feel loved in their way.
In their way. And people, and again, you guys that are in your 20s right now, when you're 27, 30 years old, your love language will change. I am 100% on this that people over time, over maturity, experiences do change their attributes, their likes, their dislikes. It could be religion as well, how they view life. You will change, and your partner will change over time, and that's okay. If you're learning how to adapt with your partner, you will also change yourself.
Yeah.
I am not the same person I was when I was 25 that I am at 33, 32. Experiences come in a huge play when you get married, kids, family, financial status, bills. A lot of things change who you are, also your partner, a lot more stressors, a lot more arguments, a lot more hard conversations that need to happen, a lot less laughs, because now you're in the real, actual shit. But you are the only people together as a team that can either stay in the shit or talk about it and process. I tell Cass this weekly, process the feeling, process the emotion, and then speak about it.
Yeah. And a couple things that I want to add there. And I speak from my experience because I am like you. I'm the alpha male. I coach people. I train people. I had to stop trying to coach Leslie.
I had to stop being a mentor.
I kept trying to coach her
Yep.
on how she should do stuff for years. And I
Failed.
tried, and it was like, she's not my client, bro. But I insisted on trying to coach her. And that was not the right approach at all. And so when you're in these conversations, and you mentioned it right now, of things kind of build upon each other,
Right.
which is why I feel that it's so important to really solve things as you go. Don't let them remain.
Right.
Because over time it gets worse, right? When you're dating, you're worried about certain things. You get married, now you're adding what you said. Now you're adding the financials. Now you got to pay your mortgage. You have car payments. You add that. That brings its own set of challenges and adjustments. If those aren't made, now the baby comes. And so you have all of the other things that you left unresolved, and now you're adding the child and not a lot of sleep and all those adjustments. So that's why it gets to this bomb where it just explodes.
Yeah.
But if you can learn how to have these conversations at the proper moment as you're going through the journey, I think that can be wildly productive. Also,
Hugely.
something that I would say is when you're arguing, when you're in the fight, try so hard not to offend the other person.
100%.
What I mean by that is don't call them names.
True.
Like me and Leslie have yelled at each other. I've never in my life called her a bitch. Never. Like we don't insult each other.
Right.
It can get loud. It can get explosive. It has before.
Right.
Of course.
But you're also both Hispanics.
But
too,
that's,
so.
yes. But that is something that I have noticed, and we actually talk about that try to maintain the respect for the person. Don't insult the person. And I can curse about the situation.
Yeah.
I can say something is bullshit.
But don't ever make it directly towards your
Yes,
partner.
exactly.
Makes sense,
That is the difference. But in order to do that, you have to keep the focus on
the problem.
the subject, on the problem,
Yeah.
not on the individual.
Mhm.
There's a difference between saying what I think happened is bullshit
Right.
and saying you are full of shit.
Yeah. That's
It's
fact.
completely different.
And that comes over to your are now making a lot of resentment towards your partner
Of
because
course.
you are hurting them consistently, but you're not actually seeing that you are the problem.
Yeah, be
Right.
careful with calling them names. Be careful with the insults. It's okay to be upset. It's okay to be angry. It's going to happen, but focus on the problem. Be very, very careful with how you speak to your partner.
That goes back to focus on the problem and then find the solution as fast as possible. And whatever that may be, it could be social media, it could be the dogs, it could be the house, you know, but everyone's going to have their way, right? We're all raised differently, we're all talked to differently. We all come from different parenting roles and lifestyles. And I think, you know, like Cass goes, you're like a lot like your mom, but like your dad. You know, I'm like, well, you're like your dad all the time and like your mom a little bit. And it comes down to just understanding how we both work, you know. And a lot of you guys need to take a step back and really actually understand the likes and dislikes and what triggers your partner, what doesn't trigger your partner. How can you actually talk to your partner to have a better relationship, but also conversations overall?
And if you feel that way, it does. But if you feel that way, you got to try it.
Mm-hmm.
Like this individual that was having these second thoughts, they were saying, well, it's because when I bring it up, it becomes a fight,
Right.
and I shouldn't have to tell them. Like, she felt that she shouldn't have to tell her partner how she feels. He should know.
That's
and
impossible.
I feel that is such a
impossible.
mistake,
Ladies,
of saying I shouldn't have to tell him. I shouldn't have to tell him how I feel. He should just do it.
ladies, guys cannot read minds. I told Cass, I cannot read your mind.
You got to tell us.
Process and express.
Yep.
Let's use that. Process your feelings of what you're feeling. Tell me so I can know, and then we move forward from it. I remember telling Cass, like, I don't give a damn if your pinky toe hurts and you stomped it or whatever. I want to know.
Right.
Like, I'm the type of person that I want you to like dump all the information, so I have all the information. I'll process it, I'll dig it out, and then come up with the solution for myself. Or I can have information to go off from.
Sure.
Or you're just super, super mad. You know what you did. Wait, what? What did I do?
Right.
And it could be something from like last week, you know?
So you have to get to a place where even if it's uncomfortable,
Mhm.
it's going to be uncomfortable at first.
It sucks.
So
yeah.
whether it's, ladies, fellas, say it.
Yeah.
And say it in a way where you say it. What's the correct word? I don't want to say nicely, because if it's something that is causing
Civil.
problems, yes. I mean, say it in a way where you try to initiate a conversation and say, hey, I feel this.
Okay, so
I want to talk about this.
So one thing that I think should be used in a lot of relationships is a key word or a code word. Example, Cass loves pineapples. So we tried this forever ago. Whenever she wanted to speak about something, or I want to speak about something, hey, pineapple. So
You knew
that was a conversation that was gonna happen. And it lasted for a little bit, but it was a key word.
Find what works for you.
And I actually I've told all of my clients this, and you know who you are, is find a key word that you guys want to use so the partner knows and is ready to receive what's going to happen. A lot of you guys just throw the ball and hit your partner in the face, and they have no idea but to attack.
Because you feel that is the response. So now going to the recipient.
Mm-hmm.
If you are the recipient, if your partner is expressing that they feel a type of way, that they are either upset about something or they wish something was different, something triggered them, you have a decision to make.
Yep.
And the decision is, do you care enough? Do you love this person enough to listen? Mm-hmm. And are you open to making some sort of an adjustment in a genuine way?
100%.
Or are you not? Maybe you're not. Maybe that's a non-negotiable for you. Mm-hmm. But that's the decision that needs to be made. So with this individual, the conversation was, you got to let him know. You got to give him a chance, because he might think that he's doing the right thing,
Right.
because love languages are different.
Right.
So he might feel like he's crushing it, but you're not feeling it. And so you need to give him a chance to make those adjustments. You can't assume that he should know,
Right.
that you shouldn't have to tell him, that you don't want to bother him. That, I mean, you got to give people a chance. Once you do it, if they then make a different decision and say, I don't want to change, this is who I am, screw it.
Right.
Now you have more information, but you got to give them a chance.
But if you truly love that person and want to make it work, I'm telling you guys right now, you'll make it work.
You'll find a way.
If you truly find things that aren't meeting your needs, communicate it, express it, process it, and then talk about it. But people don't have that knowledge. Funny story, we went to a marriage counseling once, and the lady was completely on my side the whole time. I looked at Cass, she looked at me. I was like, what is happening?
Cass, how annoying was that? By
Dude.
the way, I know you're listening. How annoying was
Oh, she was like, okay, we're never going back to this lady ever again. She was like
She's
siding on my
fired.
side. I'm like, bro, I felt offended. I was like, bro, we're trying to like be 50-50, maybe bringing someone into the middle.
It's the blue
would
eyes,
make it
bro.
work. Yeah, no bad comments on my eyes. But yeah, and that's what's wild. Like, you don't have to bring a third party into a conversation. Obviously, if it comes with different mental healthness problems or divorce or infidelity, of course, have a different
But even then,
set
I
of,
feel like you should try it yourself.
Yeah.
You got to give people a chance.
100%.
Give them a chance to respond. Give them a chance to process it themselves. Give them a chance to make the adjustments. If they don't, then okay. Then you can have a different conversation. But we got to give people a chance. Give your partner an opportunity to make those changes.
And an example of this from experience is I used to swear a lot, way more than I do now. And it was a huge thing for me. I couldn't just stop swearing. It was just part of my vocabulary. Again, I was younger, right? I'm more mature now. I'm a professional. You change over time, right? And I think for me, I would hate when Cass would tell me, stop swearing, stop swearing. Now that comes from her background, her religion, how she was raised. No swearing in the house. Over time, I was like, man, like, I don't want to be swearing up a storm in front of my kids.
Sure.
So that adaptation came about me letting go of that. Why?
Instead of just saying,
swear.
That's how I am.
That's how I am. That's not how I am.
You should love me as I am. This is how I talk.
I could adapt and be a little more respectful of her upbringing, but also we don't want to have this around the home, right? Drinking, a huge thing. I stopped drinking. Maybe Thanksgiving, Christmas with my family, the Hispanic side, right? But other than that, I don't drink because Kaz has never touched alcohol, and I respect that 100%, not because she doesn't want me to or anything like that, but that's something that we don't want in the house.
How hard was it to make that adjustment?
It was difficult.
Did you drink quite a bit before?
Casually, yeah, on the weekends, go to the club, with the homies. Even with her, like, she would ride, I'd be drinking. But then I realized, it wasn't for me. It wasn't for us. Now, remember, you guys, you have your life, yes. You have your personal life, your own individual life, your goals, your dreams, your successes. Your partner has the exact same things, but you also have to come together and realize that there is an us. There is a team. In any actual team sports, you have to work together. It's the exact same thing as a relationship. You have to work together. Communication. What happens? What do we do? What is our triggers? What can we make this better? You always have to ask these questions. There's a lot of actual games on Amazon and Michael's and like all these places that have games for partners.
Relationship games?
Relationship games. And those are so freaking fun.
Try them. They're cool.
You guys, if
They're
you're
cool.
not trying, making this a real
Yeah.
rage. If you're not trying relationship games, you need to do that like tomorrow.
Yeah.
I will put a link out.
They're cool.
They're so
Try 'em.
fun because
You learn a lot.
now
Yes.
you are asking deeper questions. Fun fact, we played this game, a card game, and it was questions like that took us back to day one. And fun questions, there's different types of colors you can pick, right?
Yeah.
It's so fun. Stop making your relationship all about the superficialness and start asking deeper questions and meaningful questions that are going to exchange into a better relationship.
Yeah.
And you guys aren't doing it. I guarantee you guys aren't. The people that have been married for 30, 40, 50 years, different. They've gone through a lot of shit together. Now remember, cultural levels and time now, why do you think people that were raised in the 50s have been married for 50 years, 60 years, and have been completely fine? Ask yourself that question. Now, I wish I had the statistics. I don't have it. Divorce rates are so much higher than ever from
It's
the
over.
1960s.
It's over
and
50%. I think it's
50%.
close to
And that's
60%.
wild.
It's wild.
I talked to an older couple years ago, and they said, "You guys have it hard. You guys have like these pictures of people online, and grass is greener on the other side. That person looks good." Back in the 60s, we didn't have any of that. We had to call each other and communicate. We had to meet at the park and talk.
It's different.
Keyword: talk.
And one of the things that I have taken is this concept of date nights.
Yes.
You have to, this is a recommendation that I have tried to implement. You have to set time aside
Mhm.
to spend with your partner, because the longer it goes that you don't do that, it starts to become awkward.
Yes.
Like Ray's here. How weird. I mean, if our parents ever went on a date, I can't imagine my parents on a date. Like just them two. It's so strange. They never did it.
That's wild.
And like that concept to me, Ray's thinking about it right now. Just no.
Yeah.
Because they, at some point, they stopped. They stopped spending time together. They stopped for whatever reason. You know, my mom would always say, "No, it's because I don't want to leave the kids. We'll just bring the kids with us because I don't want to
Yeah.
leave them with someone." But I feel like that was so harmful to their relationship
Wow. That's
because
wild.
15 years later, 20 years later, they could not relate to each other in any way. They had
Because they
nothing
lost
in
that
common.
trust, connection.
Nothing. To the point where I cannot imagine my parents on a date. I never saw it happen. Never, not once.
That's
bro,
crazy.
did that happen.
Yeah.
And that can get so common when you add all of the stresses of life.
Right.
You got work, you got bills, you
Yeah.
got kids, you got soccer practice, dance recitals. There's no time.
Yeah.
You have to find the time, even if it's an hour a week, to go get some froyo. Like, don't be afraid to leave them with the babysitter, leave the kids. They'll be
Yeah.
okay.
You have to find
An
time
hour,
for yourself.
an hour,
too.
2 hours, but you have to make it a priority. Otherwise, there's
It's
no
true.
connection there.
It's true, because a lot of the times, I mean, Cass would text me, "Hey, like, I don't feel connected." Now, I'm very busy. You know, we work a lot. We have the clients. Even though we still work together and see each other all the time,
It's different.
it's different, you guys. You guys have to find that bonding time, and we did it over food. You know, going to a restaurant. We
So
would
did we.
try new restaurants all
Yes.
the time.
Same.
Kind of our thing. And then traveling. Traveling was a big thing. And when I used to be sponsored, and we would do a lot of traveling. Our first 2 years, we probably were traveling like every other week.
Wow.
Muscle Leg, shout out to Muscle Leg. I was sponsored by Muscle Leg, and we were at the shows and conventions all the time. And what's crazy is that we experienced a lot of time alone that first like 2 or 3 years, and we did a lot. We were together all the time, so we had to learn how to coexist together through me prepping, no carb, no fat, cardio, and it was hard.
It's hard.
So Cass saw the worst of me very early on. Very early on.
And let's finish up with this, because there is another question that came up in this same scenario. So with this same individual, is this idea of your physical appearance. How important is your physical appearance post marriage? It's so common, and you see it all the time of, and as soon as I say this, every single person listening will think of someone that got married and then they let themselves go and they gain 50 pounds. And now they're just all scruffy, or they just in sweats all day. Like they stopped taking care of their appearance, which is so odd, because when you're dating, that's the thing you take care of the most. You get dressed up and you want to look nice and you try to, put your best foot forward. Why is it that changes as soon as you get married. Now you stop doing those things and you let yourself go.
Because people think that now I have them, now they're comfortable, I don't have to show up. I'm sorry, guys, that's bull crap.
It really is.
It really is.
It's hard,
Now,
but
in my experience, it's different because I am in the health and fitness,
Mhm.
so I have been healthy for a really long time. Same with Cass, but again, she liked me when I was chubby, when I was 3% body fat, when I was off season, in season, whenever that is. And Cass was lean. She got thick and juicy. What the time frame or the look I never really cared. Um, but the thing is with me though, we always said to each other, if you're getting a little fluffy, you gotta let me know. Literally, literally.
well, it's because it becomes a real
But guess
topic,
what?
right?
It was a conversation we had early on that we were both very, I would say, understanding about.
Mhm.
Because she would never get to that point. Obviously, she gets pregnant, whatever, you gain 20, 30 pounds. But for me, I told her, like, I will never be obese again. And I hold you accountable to never let me be big. And she's told me, hey, honey, like, getting a little puffy and I get a little big. Because I have a standard for myself that I want to look a certain way. I want to be healthy. And same with her. But again, it takes time to have these conversations. But I have seen a lot of people around in my circle that left a girl because she got thicker.
Well, that's the question that I want to pose to the audience. That's the question. I don't have the answer, but the question is, how much does that matter? How much should that matter? If you let yourself go, does that diminish the attraction? Does that diminish the connection? Does that harm the marriage? Should it? Should it not? So put in the comments, guys, what you think. If that is a real thing. Is it a real thing that if you let yourself go, you just don't give a shit anymore?
Yeah.
Will that hurt your marriage?
Yeah.
Should it? Should it not?
I think the hard thing is now that I'm sorry to bring up social media again, that is a fucking thing. And I'm sorry. If you guys follow me on social media, I did a vulnerability post a couple of weeks ago. I was very, very forward and upfront, and I kind of laid everything on the table. And it was a big thing for me. I have fucked up a lot in my marriage. I really have, and I don't mind saying it. And Cass knows it too. Like everybody knows. I don't hide that. But social media makes you think that you need another person.
Mhm.
Think about it. You have your partner, but then there's so many girls out there showing their ass on social media. We are men. We are alphas. We are horny.
Mhm.
You are going to be attracted to another person, and that's okay, but just don't think that the grass is greener on the other side.
Well, it's just impulse control.
It's impulse
right?
control.
It's
It
impulse
really is.
control.
It's, oh, I can have that or whatever. And one of the things that I realized that you guys, if you really are with someone, if you really truly love someone, you love them for who they are here, right? And then here. Yes, physical is the first thing you look at someone. Well, it's crazy. And you can ask Cass, like when I first met her, I literally loved her teeth. I was like, man, you have like perfect teeth. I love that.
Yeah.
And what's crazy, and this is the first time I've ever put it out there, my mother at 13 years old was like, oh, I like this girl. She's really cute. You know what she said to me? Look at her nails, look at her hands and her feet.
That'll tell you all you need to know.
Tell you all you need to know. I was like,
That's
what?
funny.
Okay, mom. And to this day,
That's what you
I
look
tell
at.
all my people, I've told my brothers, I'm guessing it's like a Hispanic thing. I don't know. But look at someone's hands and feet. It will tell you a lot about them.
Yeah, no, I love that.
But overall, I think people need to understand that people are going to change, over time. People aren't going to be fit all the time. They're not going to be in their best selves, But if you truly adapt to the person who they are and you understand and you love them for who they are and what they give you, looks shouldn't matter.
Yeah. Now, what do you guys think? The audience, what do you guys think?
Yeah.
Do you agree with Louis that looks shouldn't matter? I think looks do matter, even at a subconscious level,
Yeah.
whether you realize it or not.
Yeah.
So what do you guys think? Again, the idea with this show, I mean, I am nobody to tell you guys how to run your marriage. Louis is nobody to tell you how to run your relationship. All we're here to do is talk about our experiences, what we have learned.
Yeah.
Hopefully you can have a little bit of value, but there's just questions that you can pose. You talked about your social media, looking at different people. So do you guys think that someone is more likely to cheat if their partner lets themselves go? And I will just leave that as an open-ended question.
Yeah.
Let us know. Shoot us a DM on Instagram or TikTok. Do you believe that someone is more likely to cheat if their partner lets themselves go?
I think this is a hot topic when with the boys we're talking, and I have a lot of business partners that I have that we talk about this. Is a lot of the times, you guys, if you're in a marriage or if you're with someone you've been dating for a while, and if a woman cheats, they're done. If a guy cheats, it's just for pussy. Has nothing to do with an emotional or feeling attached to that notation. All my friends have told me that. I've had plenty of conversations. Guys don't cheat because they want to leave the girl. They don't want to leave that person.
They just don't have the impulse control.
Exactly. They just want to get it.
They just don't have it, and they're out. Right?
You know? And women is differently with, and this is scientific. I read this about it a lot. Once a woman does cheat, they're done with that relationship. Because women are emotional beings.
They've emotionally checked out, type of thing?
Exactly, yeah.
That's interesting.
And you guys can look it up. But it's interesting. And I think that's what sucks about social media now is that you have these impulses, you have these DM factors, you have this like on the page.
We need to have more control.
And more control.
More control.
And I am one person that will tell you this right now. You guys, I've gone through that in my late 20s. It was a thing that I had, and I had to go for myself, and I had to realize that liking a picture is wrong. Commenting on a picture could be taken wrong. Anything can be taken wrong, especially if you have a partner. So just remember to respect those boundaries also, because it could be really damaging to your marriage.
Yeah, absolutely. And so just to wrap up, guys, that's the intention with this episode. It's to motivate you to have those conversations, to listen, to be willing to be flexible, to understand that a relationship requires adjustments, work, changes. Be willing to do that. If you really love the person that is across from you, then give them a chance to express themselves, take that input, and then do your best to make them happy.
Yeah.
You know, and if both people can do that, and if you can find the correct way to talk to each other, to sit down, have those conversations, what are things that you enjoy together that you can do together, then the connection will be closer and you'll be able to solve the issues as they arise so that it doesn't build up and eventually it explodes.
It builds resentment, it builds explosion, impulsive control, things that you can do. That's the biggest thing, you guys. You have to understand that everyone's perception and perspective is completely different than yours. You have to get to a place here and here that you can understand those perspectives of how other people view their life. And a lot of the times people don't realize that you have to put yourself in someone else's shoes to understand who they really are, to what they're going through, and then you put it onto you and understand it from your perspective equals an answer.
To try to build something that actually has a shot. I love it, guys. So this has been episode number 6 of the Male Mind Podcast. We got guests coming.
Yes.
So as of next episode 7, we're going to have guests. We got a dope guest list. You've got some on your mind. I have some on my mind. So we're going to start getting guests. We're going to have the third camera, third mic. It's going to be awesome. Yeah. So if you would like to be on the Male Mind Podcast, shoot us a DM.
Yep.
We want to hear other stories. This is beyond just what you and I think.
Yeah.
So we're going to bring all sorts of people that have different experiences, different things to share to make the show a little bit more dynamic. So watch out for that, guys. Starting next episode, we're going to have guests. And till next time.
Next time, you guys. Again, listen, understand, communicate with your partner. And again, we are just trying to make you have a little more oomph in your step, a little firecracker in your butt, as I say. But thank you guys so much. We love the comments. We love the interactions. I love all the DMs that are coming through. And again, I'm excited for the guests, and we're going to make this a lot more fun and a lot more constructive to make you guys have a better understanding of